Howdy folks, Grok the DuckFarmer here, and let's talk a little bit about making movies with Minecraft. Now, the last little while I had a couple people ask what software I use and the process I go through, and so I figured let me make a video explaining how I do it and the software I use. And I've made one of these earlier, but this is what I'm doing now with different software. Anyway, let's go take a look at that software. I use three pieces of software to do all my recording. For streams, I use OBS, and for recording my regular videos, I use Bandicam. And I've been using it for a long time, and I've really enjoyed it. And I've turned on the mouse cursor effect so you can see it when I click on things. As you can see, I'm recording this right now. It's loads of fun. Let's drag that off to the other screen. For editing my videos, I use Visual Studio the Pro 2018, and it's saying, hey, there's a newer version. There's a newer version. Buy it, buy it, buy it. Well, I'm not going to do it right now. Instead, I'm going to edit this. So the first thing I do is I drop in the previous video, and I always go to the sound mixer so I can see the sound. And I've got that dead space before I start. And I always do that. And we'll trim off that piece because I don't need that. And then I want an intro. Now, some of the times in my older videos, and for most of my time doing Minecraft videos, I have had a short little intro piece. In fact, here's one of my commonest ones. Let's toss that in here. And if we play that, now with 100%, more ducks. And so the very, very common one for me to use. And then I decided I would go ahead and change it up depending on the different type of series that I was playing. Like this one is a different series. Hey there, Cactus. You and me, let's play some Modern Skyblock 2. Yeah. Oh. So silliness. And then I decided that instead of doing that, I would do overlays. Just because that way I'm starting from the get-go instead of having that little brief intro. And I'm not a big fan of intros, especially when you have 30 seconds of intro with all this really loud stuff. And yeah, no. Anyway, I'll drop that in here on the overlay track, change up the motion, and rather than it being static, I typically have a little bit of an effect. In this case, it's going from 95 to 100% growth. And then, let's see, there's the howdy folks, corrected over here, and I'm on the blah, 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 and there's a little bit of pause. That should be the amount that I need. Switch back to project, and let's see how this goes. Howdy folks, Grok the DuckFarmer here, and let's talk a little bit about making movies with Minecraft. Now, all right, so that's a subtle, a more subtle sort of intro than dropping an anvil on your head, but that's how I begin it, and then I will zip to the end of the track, zip, and again, there's a chunk of space afterwards. I do that so that I can trim off and not have too much dead space, but I also don't want to cut off my text, which is bad too. So let's go ahead and about there. We'll trim. And now that piece can go. Alrighty. Let's check the, yep, okay, didn't, because I hit the delete key and nothing deleted, and I said, what did I have highlighted? Anyway, so at this point, this first piece is done. So now it's time to grab the second, which is what I'm recording right now. Now that I have two clips, I need to bring the second one in, so we'll drop that into place, and it starts loading up the wave data. And you can see I have that long pause. I want to make sure that everything is fully spooled up, because there's been times, particularly when I haven't been doing any recording, where there may be 1 or 2 seconds before the recording kind of catches up. So I like to give it a chance to spool up. And maybe it's the second, third, or fourth take because I messed up at the beginning. I do that all the time. Anyway, let's go ahead and trim about there. Yeah, that should be okay. And we'll get rid of that. Now, if we look at this as it transitions, it's pretty boring. To look at that software. I use three pieces of software. It's just very abrupt. You just, one right to the other, and I like a little transition. So for that, let's switch over to the transition things. And I've zeroed out everything else so it just has my favorite, which is the zipper effect. And if we look at it now, it's a little bit better. So look at that software. I use 3 pieces of software. That's much better. It's got that little bit of a transition that tells you that there's been a break there. And also the voice, there's very little dead space there. You can see it's a little bit tight on this end. Maybe I could have done it a little bit, given it a little bit more space, or maybe trimmed off a little bit here and left it, whatever. That's the sort of thing that I'll do a lot of. And then we zip to the end and we take a look here, and I'll trim off the end piece here. Now, and again, give myself a little bit of space. And let's do one more trim of this. I'm going to edit this piece in and show you how I end. This feels a little bit like videoception as I'm recording the stuff that I'm recording. Anyway, I've got 3 pieces in here. That last piece I just stuck on. And if we go take a look at the end, there's a significant chunk of dead space. Well, that's because I was deleting that extra little chunk, and so I decided I'd leave that in. But assuming that this is the end, and I can't really edit the end until I'm done with the one of the things that I had, just like I had a intro piece that was 2-3 seconds long, and then I've done an overlay for my end. Instead of having a short 3-4 second credit to my patrons and thanking them for what they do, I now have an overlay that I use. And so if we toss that instead, let's go ahead and slide it about to the end. And it doesn't have to completely match, but I go ahead and drop that in, and then I'll go ahead, drop back to this view, double click to open it up, hit the, you can see it's black. And I don't want it to be black. I want it to be transparent. Now that it's transparent, we'll again do the customize motion. And this one goes 100%. And it will just roll the credits at the end of my video, and just give credit to my patrons. And that's how I edit my stuff. I then right now I've got it saved. This is Minecraft Talk number 38, making movies, the 2019 version, and I save it. I export it out. So that I've got it saved. I'm going to have to make sure that, it's going to make the right format that I want. And at that point then, I upload it onto YouTube. I always schedule it for the next morning. Typically, since I'm West Coast, it's 5 a.m. when I have it to go out. So East Coast, that would be 8 a.m. And that's typically how I set those out. And typically about an hour or so I wake up, because I wake up every day at 6, and I'll just make sure that I send out credit announcements out to Discord, and anybody who's not subscribed and doesn't get notifications can see it that way.
You forgot something.
Well, what did I forget?
Yeah, when your wife comes by and makes obnoxious comments in the background.
That's true. There's always Mrs. the DuckFarmer, who is part of these videos too, and I love her a lot. So she gets away with it. Yay. Plus she has a working cutlass, and
that's right.
One of those pro tips I'll give you: never cheese off a woman who has a working cutlass. So anyway, that it gets uploaded, and I check and see what the comments are, and I pretty much try to respond to every comment that people give me. At some point, there'll be too many, and I won't, and I'll feel sad. But for right now, I try to comment to everybody, and I appreciate all the fantastic things that people bring out with their comments and their views and likes. And I also really super appreciate all my fantastic patrons, because they are fantastic. And I chat with them in my Discord all the time, because they're great. Anyway, this has been Grok the DuckFarmer here, doing a little behind the scenes of how I make videos. And thanks for watching. Bye.